Hello and welcome back to CBR MTG. My name is Angus. I'm joined here by Jake Sims.
Hey guys.
And we are talking Cancon Top 8, Round 1. This is Sunny Minaj on Tezzerator Stax versus Luke Borrow on Jeskai Geist. This Cancon stands for Canberra Convention. It was at on Australia Day in Canberra, Australia, and we had, I think, 40 something players come for the modern event, and then we had formats spreading across the whole long weekend. CBR MTG was very lucky to be able to film the top 8 for this event, and by gums, talking about lucky, we're going to see Sunny Minaj on Tezzerator Stax, which is a very, very unique deck. Jake, why don't you run us through it?
Tezzerator Stax is a really sweet deck. Functions pretty similar to Latin Control. It has its 4 Whir of Inventions. It has its Wishbane Orbs, 1 Mox Opal, but instead of locking them out with Len and your Mill Rocks, the main win con of this deck is Tezzeret, Agent of Bolus. Now, this is a really sweet Planeswalker. I really like him. His +1's like just an Ancient Stirrings for artifacts. His -2 is really sweet, that any artifact becomes a 5/5 target artifact creature. Not until end of turn, forever.
Yeah, that's right.
That is huge. And his -4 is target opponent loses X life, and you gain X life, where X is twice the number of artifacts you control. Also crazy in this deck. But unlike Len, this has a lot of fun offs. I'm liking the look of 1 Collective Brutality, 1 Black Sun's Zenith. I really like that. 1 Damnation, 1 Crucible of Worlds. So that means it's also playing the Field of Ruin, Ghost Quarter, Land Denial Plan. 1 Liliana of the Veil. And how many Trinispheres? I think 3 Trinispheres. So and 4 Chalice of the Voids. So that is its main lock plan. But yeah, very, very similar artifact-based prison deck.
It's also got the combo of Thopter Foundry and Sword of the Meek.
Yes, I did forget to mention that.
Yeah, we saw, so definitely Tezzeret making 5/5s is a good win con, but to add to the sort of lock nature of it, there's a combo between Sword of the Meek and Thopter Foundry. Thopter Foundry says pay 1, sacrifice a non-artifact, non-token artifact, make a blue Thopter, 1/1 with flying. Now, Sunny's going to be able to sacrifice his Sword of the Meek, which says when it if it's in the battlefield, if a 1/1 enters the battlefield under your control, return the sword attached to that creature. So it essentially just says pay 1, make a Thopter, and it also gains you 1 life with the Thopter Foundry as well. So you're making a Thopter and gaining a life. So if we can establish that early, we can just use whatever mana we have available to make jump blockers and gain a bit of life. So Sunny will hopefully be able to push out some early lock pieces, as mentioned before, with the Trinisphere and a bit of fast mana coming on his side, and Chalices as well, and then he'll just sort of grind him out with 1/1s or just win with Tezzeret.
It is good to see Sword of the Meek in Modern, because I remember it got banned for a long, long time, and then it got unbanned, and yeah, no one did anything with it. So I'm glad to see a deck that that can make room for it and like take full advantage of the power that it brings.
Yeah, absolutely. I think definitely making full use of that the Whir of Invention line. So he's playing 4 Whir of Inventions, but just so many one-offs. Like as we mentioned before, just being able to have sort of a toolbox mentality happening on his side definitely can justify all those one-offs.
That's what helps push Len over the top as a tier 1 deck. Just instant speed, instant reach. Get out of here. That's not fair.
That's right. Especially getting rid of the last card in your hand being the Whir of Invention just to do it pre-combat. Now we're seeing a pretty nice end of turn Vendilion click on Luke's side, slightly covered by that glare, but he's going to sort of, because I'm sure that Sunny's got a lot of free wins on this day because people just don't know what's happening. You know, like he plays a Thopter Foundry. If you don't know how the combo works, you're like, okay, sure, you know, and then see a lock piece here or there, but Luke's going to be able to really capitalize on this free information and find out what we're going to send to the bottom of the library.
Yeah, looking at 3 lands, a Trinisphere, Crucible of Worlds, and a Whir of Invention. I'm slightly leaning towards the Whir. It's just the most dangerous, the most flexible card, so getting rid of that makes the most sense.
Well, that Whir represents many different cards. So,
but on the other side of that, like that trinisphere is also very scary for Luke. He has a lot of like 1 mana cost cantrips, his lightning bolts, his paths, which don't really play in this matchup. Just making him pay more for that is very.
It's just it stops him from playing 2 or 3 spells a turn. You know, like if he has 3 mana up, he's only casting 1 spell, and that will work very well for Sunny because he's going to try and sort of slam down these lock pieces. And if he can get that Crucible lock with a Ghost Quarter, if he manages to find one, he'll be able to make it almost impossible for Luke to pay 3 for any sort of spell.
So Sunny drew a Chalice of the Void and opted to play Crucible of Worlds instead. He does have the Field of Ruin, so he can start attacking Luke's mana, but Sunny has no way of knowing this, but Luke is running 3 islands, 1 mountain, 1 plain, so it will take a while before
to make that Ghost Quarter work. Yeah,
the field. Sorry, though Luke does have a couple of Geists, so that is fair enough to be scared of them. But I don't know. I would have been more inclined to slam a Chalice or a Trinisphere while the getting's good. Like, there's no way Luke could have countered it, and he has no main board way of answering a resolved Trinisphere or Chalice outside of crypting, bouncing it. So.
Yeah, he does have that one of engineered explosives, but he will have to trade his Vendilion Click for that. And I think he's probably just in a situation right now where he's fine. Like, Sunny's definitely being heavily aggressive with this land denial package, this land denial line. But unfortunately, it's sort of his only lock piece, and I don't think it's going to slow Luke down very much, especially when Sunny's facing off against his Vendilion Click. It's gonna be hard to push through, but he is gonna search his library for a basic. So it's essentially pay 1 because you still get to get it back. But then he will be able to play it next turn. He will be able to play it this turn and then possibly put a Chalice on 1. Now that he has the chance, I think just because Luke was tapped down. I think when the Crucible came down, that he prioritized the Crucible over the Trinisphere and like spells that he wanted to resolve.
Yep.
Which is probably reasonable. We see the Pentad Prism for the draw, so we'll be able to play that out. Unfortunately, if he chooses to get the Field of Ruin, which he has, he'll only be able to put Pentad Prism on 1. So it's possible, we're just going to see the Chalice being played out here.
No fear. Throwing a Chalice into Cryptic Mana. I like it.
Yeah. It's also dies to Spell Snare, which is very unfortunate, but it appears that he's just letting... just using that 1 red that he floated from the Field of Ruin to Lightning Helix his opponent, which is probably fine. And we're seeing... putting it on 1 is very good, but it's kind of a nombo with Trinisphere because it'll turn all of his lightning bolts into 3 mana spells, which won't get countered. But he will have the chance to get this Pentad Prism on the battlefield, and then hopefully just casting Field of Ruin every turn. Like, Luke will run out eventually. He'll run out of good lands eventually, but at least it puts his Celestial Colonnades at bay for what will be an aggressive swing in the next couple of turns.
So I think Luke needs to get on the front foot here. He really needs to land another threat. The Vendilion Click is a good start. It's a 3-turn clock as is.
Yep.
But just if a bridge comes down followed by a land and he's able to dump his hand, Sunny's able to dump his hand, then
I think an Ensnaring Bridge notably being the 3 of in his deck instead of the nice fun ofs that he has. I think it's just like pretty crucial that he draws it as soon as possible because it's going to be very hard for him to come back from this. But he does have a couple of somewhat superfluous artifacts at this point with the Chalice of the Void and the Crucible of Worlds. If he doesn't want to go down that line, he can sacrifice them to the Thopter Foundry to start gaining life and making Thopters, which will profitably block the Vendilion Click, notably being a 1 toughness creature.
Those Thopters that have flying, that's not nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to put this Pentad Prism down and then follow it up with a Trinisphere. Pentad Prism being like very, very interesting with this Thopter Foundry, because if you don't know, Pentad Prism is I think it's 2 mana, or is it 3 mana? It's just 2 mana. But it essentially just has Sunburst, and then it puts charge counters on it. But if you can remove it to add mana to your mana pool, so it's essentially a 2 mana rock. But afterwards you can turn it into a 5/5 with Tezzeret, or you can sacrifice it to Thopter Foundry. Like if it doesn't have any charge counters on it, it just stays on the battlefield. So Sunny owning a deck that possibly uses that to such an incredible advantage as opposed to other decks.
Also helps to cast War of Invention. Also worth noting. So
absolutely.
This is the perfect home for Pentad Prism.
And Pentad Prism essentially represents two Thopters at this point. It's going to be very hard for Luke. He's obviously doing a swinging first and then deciding what he's going to do later, so he will be able to possibly burn a spell now that the Trinisphere is gone. Probably an interesting line, taking the Trinisphere off the battlefield before maybe the Chalice. It's hard to say exactly what would be the best thing to get rid of, but the Trinisphere making all of his paths and stuff cost 3 anyway means that he's not going to be able to do 2 removal spells in one turn. He'll only be able to do 1. So we're seeing before blocks a Thopter being made, and Luke will search his library for a card, and then assumably have some kind of response to this. So this is still all before blocks. So if all goes to plan, we'll put Sunny to 1 with the Vendilion Click, and then he's dead to a lot of cards in Luke's deck. So we'll see what Luke comes out with it.
Yeah, because if Luke is able to destroy this Thopter before blocks, then the Vendilion Click will get in for 3, and I'm pretty sure I've seen a Lightning Helix being palmed around in his hand.
Yep.
That being said, the Prism does have 1 counter on it, so
that's true.
Sunny is able to make another Thopter. So
he'll even be able to do it for value, because he'll. It looks like he's going to snap, probably Electrolyze. So. Because if Sunny doesn't see the line of making another Thopter, which he hopefully will by the top 8 by that time, but it looks like he's going to try and do 1 to face and 1 to Thopter, and then the Vendilion Click will be able to come in for lethal. But we see that Sunny's actually able to use this Pentad Prism to its full potential now, and making it have 0 charge counters on it, so it's now worthless, but he will be able to make another Thopter and gain a life, which is not irrelevant as well. So we're just going to have the Thopter die and then replace it with another Thopter to save the moving around of hand signals. But yeah, we are going to trade with that Vendilion Click, so I think Sunny's probably feeling pretty happy about this.
For sure.
Also, Snapcaster Mage being an X1 as well, there's not a whole lot that Luke can do except for attempt to burn face from here, so...
I see a Witchbane Orb in Sunny's
hand. That is a perfect draw. This is what was looking like Sunny dead on board for a turn. Like, he had 2 turns and then he had 1 turn. Like, he's managed to stabilize here. Like, he's going to be able, he has 1 mana open.
Yeah.
He's able to even make another Thopter to stop the Snapcaster Mage coming through if he so chooses, but the Witchbane Orb is going to stop any sort of Lightning Helixes or Electrolyzers or anything like that, just targeting him. So very, very nice draw coming out of Sunny. This will allow him to stabilize very well. I think this late in the game, we're probably okay to sacrifice the Crucible of Worlds as well. I get a bit nervous now sacrificing the Chalice on 1 just because it turns on removal spells for target Thopter, which he definitely doesn't want. But I think the Crucible of Worlds has kind of lost its value at this point. But you definitely need the Witchbane Orbs, so if we had to prioritize. But we'll see what comes out of Luke's side. He's gonna if he ends up passing the turn, he's gonna be in pretty big trouble, because before you know it, Sunny's gonna find that Sword of the Meek, and then he's just gonna start making Thopters.
Yeah.
And when he's gaining life and making Thopters, like, Luke's gonna have a very tough time to deal with it. So kind of has to do something pretty soon. He does have a Spell Snare in hand, which will stop the casting of the sword, but then but it's still in the graveyard.
As soon as Sunny sacrifices another artifact, he'll just get it straight back. So that's a very Band-Aid problem. That's not going to help.
Yeah, exactly. Also, sorry, the Spell Snare is definitely going to get countered by the Chalice of the Void. So
there's that.
Not a huge issue, yeah. But it seems that Sunny's managed to untap. Possibly just surveying the area. He's definitely just not hugely inclined to do anything at this point. Like, if he wants, it looks like he's just gonna take this time while he can to sacrifice, try and take him off double red. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about not getting rid of one of the Celestial Colonnades at least, but if you're keeping him off 5 life, then 5 mana, then he's not gonna be able to get rid of the there. He's not going to be able to activate the Celestial Colonnade anyway, so it's not a huge issue. But I guess also blocking the Celestial Colonnade works as well, so he's probably okay to before we get rid of the Crucible of Worlds to make a Thopter, because I think we might have to at some point. But we will get the Field of Ruin back on the battlefield, so at least Sunny will be able to keep that Celestial Colonnade at bay. Just representing the idea to kill the Celestial Colonnade will stop it from ever being activated anyway. Like, this is a play that we see in many different formats. Just holding up a Wasteland or holding up a Strip Mine or holding up something like that just stops your opponent from investing what is 4 mana into trying to activate the Celestial Colonnade. We'll see what comes out of this turn. It looks like you at least attempting something. I mean, yeah, as we said before, Luke's got to really got to work hard to not take any turns. Okay, that's good.
Yep.
We're happy with that. So he can choose to either... This is in his end step, so he's not going to be able to cast that Chalice of the Void again this turn. And then Luke will be able to counter it with the Spell Snare he has in his hand. So Luke's probably feeling pretty good about this. He is going to draw a card off it as well.
This unlocks Luke's hand as well. I've seen a Path to Exile and a Serum Visions lurking around in there. So just unlocking those couple of cards just might be enough to get him across the line. So
yeah. Sunny seems to have a different idea. He's just going to sacrifice it. Probably seeing the fact that it's... no longer as useful as it was earlier on in the game, and the fact that it probably won't resolve it again. But there is the added benefit. I mean, we are getting a judge call at this very point in time, but if one of the targets isn't legal for Cryptic Command, then the whole spell fizzles. So because the Chalice of the Void was removed in response, he's not going to be able to use the extra mode on the card, which is draw a card. So I think we're having Sunny sort of discuss how they both think it works, which is fine. But we do have Laura Ellis, our local big time judge, sitting here. This is pretty late in the night. I think it's about 8 or 9 o'clock. So there's nearly no one in the giant hall where they're all playing. But Laura's sitting by ever vigilantly, helping them get through these interesting sort of interactive lines. So we're just getting a judge call on this side. We didn't bother to mention Luke's list. It's got a bit of a spicy taste to it.
It does. He does enjoy his fun obs as well.
Yeah.
Looking at we've touched on this on another video. He's running one main board Engineered Explosives and a Settle the Wreckage.
Possibly just planning for a heavy aggressive meta.
Yeah.
That Settle the Wreckage mainboard will blow out a lot of people because no one's going to play around it. No. So it seems like a very good card. This is coming out of Ixalan. It's a 4 mana rare, and it's
it just Path to Exiles all your opponent's attacking creatures.
Yeah.
And Modern being a very greedy mana based format. Not a lot of basics for running.
Not a lot of basics.
So yeah, it's
yeah, very very good card. So nice little gem coming out of Ixalan on that point. But we'll see if we can. We'll see if we get any get to cast at this game, because I think I see one in his hand. Now that the Chalice is gone, the Cryptic Command has fizzled. We're gonna path the last Thopter and hopefully get in for 2 damage here and there. I think I do like this line of just being sort of hyper aggressive on Luke's side, using his path up on Thopters. I mean, he's not really using it on anything else. He hasn't seen the Tezzeret come down yet, so he doesn't know that Sunny also has the way of making 5/5s. But I think just trying to let that Snapcaster Mage get through is going to be very important for him. Now, he also has to sort of decide whether or not he wants to sacrifice the Witchbane Orb or the Crucible. Until he gets the Sword of the Meek, it's going to be very difficult for Sunny.
I think the Crucible has to take one for the team here.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Witchbane is just stopping him from being dead to all the burn that's in Luke's deck.
Yeah,
but,
and also Snapcaster Mage is turning on all the burn that he has in his graveyard. He does have 2 Helixes in there. The Electrolyze has been used twice, so we won't be able to use it again. But there's a lot of live cards in Luke's deck, but that the Witchbane Orb is keeping at bay. Now, we are I think we're doing this before combat, it seems, but it probably behooves Sunny to attempt to make a Thopter after he finds out whether or not Snapcaster Mage is going to attack, because he gets to maybe sort of mise Luke out of that making that trade. But I mean, Luke's been around the block a lot. He's a very good player in his own right, so I don't think he's going to be able to stop anything from happening. We are getting the snap, as mentioned before, the Snapcaster Mage Lightning Helix, and I think we're going to sacrifice something else this time to make another Thopter. So if I'm not mistaken, he's only got 2 artifacts that he can choose coming out of this. So if he's going to sacrifice the Thopter to the other Thopter, it will not be allowed. So hopefully I guess you can choose the Thopter Foundry, but no, it looks like he's sacrificing the Thopter to its Thopter to the Thopter Foundry, which we know is not allowed. So unfortunately, seems that it will resolve. But yeah, that is a very it's a bad line. It's not necessarily paying attention to the rules is a good way to win. But I mean, I've been guilty of even in the tournament report I mentioned that he should definitely sacrifice the Thopter to this, but yeah, it specifically states non-token artifacts. So unfortunately, the Thopter was taken 1.
And Sunny ripping a Whir of Invention. So do you just go? Yep, you just go grab the sword now. And this is trouble for Luke.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be big trouble for Luke. So now he's got 6 mana left over. He's going to be able to make 6 Thopters and gain 6 life, which is just awful for Luke. Like, he's worked so hard. He's gotten Sunny down to quite a low amount of mana, but quite a low amount of life. But he's managed to stabilize on what was 4 life, and now he's just going to start gaining life like crazy. So this Whir of Invention resolving was not good for Luke's side. So he's just explaining the combo here. Good thing about Whir of Invention is it does have improvise, so it's able to tap artifacts to help cast it. Very, very interesting with the Thopter Foundry and the Witchbane Orb, because they do not have a tap ability, so they're ripe for the tapping. So I think Sunny's explained the combo to Luke. Luke is well aware of what's about to happen, but now Sunny just has 3 mana open. That's 3 more. He's got a Thopter that actually profitably blocks against Snapcaster Mage. So Snapcaster Mage is just not attacking anymore because the one with the Sword of the Meek on it is now 2/3. And Luke's going to be in a little bit of trouble trying to get back out of this. He does have a lot of flying threats, but unfortunately so does Sunny. So we're going to have to be working pretty hard to make this work. And I think at any point you're probably just okay to just make 1 million Thopters, please, and just gain that life. Like, he's back on 12 life. Like, that's insane.
Yep.
He's just gonna make all these beautiful blue Thopters from I think it was the Unstable that just came out that provided those Thopters. So maybe not those ones exactly, but because those ones don't look like they're foil, but definitely very beautiful foil ones coming out. And you know that he's made more Thopters than he anticipated because he's using the Kaladesh ones from here on out. So I mean, this is like pretty perfect synergy with Ensnaring Bridge as well, because he can draw for turn, pay like at end of turn, like pay 12, make 12 Thopters, untap, have 1 card in hand.
And here's Settle the Wreckage.
Yeah, here's the Settle the Wreckage. Unfortunately, the Witchbane Orb prevents that from happening. Yeah, it says target player. So unfortunately, this is in a different language. So Luke's not very happy about that. But however, our Settle the Wreckage will not resolve, and Sunny's going to be able to get in for 5. So 6, yeah, 5, 6, 7. So he's going to be able to get in for 7. Next turn, he'll get in for 12, and then it's pretty much lights out for Luke. So I think we're just sort of having to think about is there any way to get out of this, but I think that sort of the wreckage could have put him at a pretty good advantage, but yeah, we're just gonna sort of have to pack it up from here, unfortunately, for Luke.
Yeah, he sees the writing on the wall that there was no way he can come back from this.
Yeah,
the combo was there. He's got no main board way to deal with the infinite army that's coming his way.
What have we got coming out of the sideboards?
All right, let's have a look at Luke's sideboard first. We have 2 Cancon Modern, 1 Jace Architected Thought, 2 Negate, 1 Dispel, 2 Relic of Progenitus, 1 Ruined Halo, 2 Stony Silence, 2 Supreme Verdict, and 2 Ceremonious Rejections. A lot I like here.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Ceremonious Rejections come in. Stony Silence, absolutely. Negate, if he is a fine catch-all counterspell. Yep. You could talk me into the 2 Cancon Modern. He has not seen the Ensnaring Bridge, but being an artifact-based prison deck, it's pretty safe to assume that's in there. So,
yeah, for sure.
If he does land it, then giving your deck a little bit more reach by throwing Thopters at his face, that could also play. Yep. Maybe Jace Architected Thought. It is a grindy game, as we've just seen.
Yeah. He's going to want to be able to get that card advantage off the Jace, going into the late game. I also kind of like Relic of Progenitus as well.
Yes.
We have talked about this outside of commentary, but just being able to put it on the battlefield stops that Thopter Foundry from actually comboing off with Sword of the Meek, because the Sword of the Meek will enter the battlefield at some point, and then Luke will be able to get it back out. So I think, yeah, that works, because for the combo to continue, he'll have to get the Sword of the Meek out of the graveyard, in the graveyard, out of the graveyard, in the graveyard. So it kind of works for him.
Sunny's side, we are looking at 2 Ceremonious Rejections, 1 Dismember, 1 Flailing Tendrils, 2 Pithing Needle, 1 Quicksilver Fountain, 2 Relic of Progenitus, 1 Spellskite, 3 Sun Droplets, and 2 Thoughtseize. Not a lot. The Thoughtseizes they're fine, just hitting a counterspell, hitting any threat that or burn spell that Luke is holding up.
Yep. I like Flaying Tendrils. Out of Sunny's board.
Yep.
Luke, all of his threats besides the Celestial Colonnades are less than 2.
And a couple Spell Quellers.
Oh, of course, and the Spell Quellers as well.
But everything else is fair.
But it does get Geist.
This is absolutely.
Quicksilver Fountain is very, very spicy. I mean, we're definitely not bringing it in this matchup, but essentially it's a very good commander card if you want people to not like you anymore. So it reads, at the beginning of your upkeep, put a flood counter on target non-land. Your
non-island. land.
So in each player's upkeep, they put a flood counter on each on target non-island land he or she controls of his or her choice. That land is an island for as long as it has a flood counter on it. And then at the beginning of each end step, if all lands on the battlefield are islands, remove all flood counters from them.
It's a very odd spreading seas kind of effect.
Yeah, I mean, if this is especially good in Sunny's deck, even because it's just a one-off, he'll be able to get it with Whir of Invention. But because he is playing Ensnaring Bridge, because he's playing Trinisphere and stuff, he's okay to play Draw Go for a little bit, and he's actually he actually benefits from the Draw Go aspect. Now, he'll also be able to cycle his lands with Crucible of Worlds. So after it's a flood counter, he can he can target it to put a flood counter on it, and then in response sacrifice it, and then get it back with Crucible of Worlds, so that he can essentially keep the flood counters on forever. So it's probably a good bring in against Tron and sort of those greedy land based decks. But you're definitely not bringing it in this matchup, because Luke loves his islands. I can see probably the Relic of Progenitus coming in as well on Sunny's side, just sort of stopping the Snapcaster Mage lines. He will be bringing in these Sun Droplets. This is also kind of a weird card. Lots of weird cards coming out of Sunny's side, so I can definitely appreciate it. But Sun Droplet reads, it's a 2-mana artifact, and it says, whenever you're dealt damage, put that many charge counters on Sun Droplet, and then at the beginning of each upkeep, you may remove a charge counter from Sun Droplet. If you do, you gain 1 life. Now, this is also a good Draw Go card, because if your opponent says Draw Go, then you just gained a life, and Sunny wants to be playing Draw Go.
That is incorrect. It's only when you're dealt damage you get the drop.
But you can only remove So if Luke does 3 damage,
Yeah.
then for the next 3 turns he can remove a charge counter each
Okay,
time.
yeah.
So you can only remove 1 at a time. So yeah, you're right. You only gain charge counters when you get damage. But if Luke throws any burn spell at his face, every turn he'll be able to sort of trickle that back in.
How does that work with fetch lands, I wonder?
It's
dealt damage, but
he will be dealt damage, I suppose. Not something that we'll have to worry about too much. I mean, he is playing the 4 of Polluted Delta, but there's not a whole lot of fetch lands coming out of Sunny's side. His land package is basically you saw it all before. It's just black blue, but we do have the Spire of Industry and Mox Opal kind of helping him with the Pentad Prisms.
along with 3 Simian Spirit Guides, help get those charge counters going.
Ooh, yeah. That Simian Spirit Guide, we have 3 of Simian Spirit Guide that we haven't mentioned until now because it was a very, very large surprise. I mean, I was filming this match, it was late in the night, and he goes, Exile Simian Spirit Guide, and everyone takes a bit of a pause, and then we start laughing because it was just so... I mean, it works. It does exactly what Sunny wants to do, but it was so surprising that we ended up just saying that it splashed red for the rest of the game because we were playing the Simian Spirit Guides. But I mean, it puts charge counters on Pentad Prism, so that helps him. It's being able to put 3 charge counters on the Pentad Prism. No, that doesn't work, does it? No, it can only be 2, but at least it sort of helps him out with that mana. It also, powers out the Chalice on 1, it powers out the Trinisphere on turn 2, so he'll, it's really beneficial. And we see it in his opening hand now, so perhaps we'll be able to see some action coming out of it.
Do you remember Chalice on turn 1 during Eldrazi Winter? Simian Spirit Guide land, slam Chalice.
Yeah, that was a fun time for everyone involved. But I mean, Chalice didn't get the boots, so...
Yep.
It managed to survive the dark times. We don't talk about the dark times. We are keeping this hand. It's a bit of an interesting one, but we are going to be able to power out that Tezzeret as early as turn 3, I think, for a turn 4 Planeswalker. And you will be able to catch Luke by surprise because he has not seen the Tezzeret yet. So we could get a little bit of surprise coming out of Luke's side. I think we're just going to play, I'm not 100% sure about what else is happening on his hand, but he has the Tezzeret, he has the Pentad Prism. He'd just be insane not to go Pentad Prism and then Tezzeret on turn 3, because, as we mentioned before, the Pentad Prism will have no more charge counters on it. It doesn't work anymore, except he can turn it into a 5/5 and just start beating face as early as turn 3 with a 5/5. So...
2 Loyalty Planeswalker and a 5/5 on turn 3, sign me up. I'm all for that.
And then he'll be able to, if he manages to get that through, he'll be able to start doing the uptick of Tezzeret and sort of rebuilding his hand. So this has ended up being a very, very good hand from Sunny. We're seeing the line of playing out this Pentad Prism with 4 mana available, 5 mana available to him, 6 mana available to him, if he plays the land, he uses the Pentad Prism mana, and he also has the Simian Spirit Guide in hand, so he could play that Spellskite and the Tezzeret in 1 turn. That, my friends, is janky, and I love it, and I love it so much. But Luke also having a pretty good hand on his side, being able to play that Relic as early as turn 1, he's going to be able to, turn 2, who's going to be able to stifle any sort of the Meek action that Sunny is going to be playing. So he's probably feeling pretty confident right now. But little does he know that we have a triple-sleeved Tezzeret in his hand right now.
I like slamming Geist right now. You got to get a threat on the board before lock pieces start coming in and Sunny assembles the combo. So Geist seems fine. It's the best turn 3 threat that this deck can produce.
I love it. Yeah, it's very, very good.
Here we go.
Although it does leave him exposed. I bet you wasn't realizing exactly what we could do on turn 3, but swing for 5 is pretty good. So Tezzeret's down tick, as we mentioned before, was turn an artifact into a 5/5. It remains a 5/5 for the rest of the game.
Because that's fair.
Yeah, fair and balanced Magic. The old turn 3 Tezzeret.
When Nissa transforms a land into a creature, it's only till your next turn, or...
Yeah, that's right.
It's not forever.
Tezzeret doesn't believe in that. He's the agent of Bolas. He's going to be acting pretty hard to to get that unfair magic coming out. Now it appears that Sunny doesn't have the third land, so he's going to be a little bit stifled for mana for the rest of the game unless he can pick up a couple of lands. But I think with a 5/5 he's probably okay.
I think I've seen another Tezzeret floating around in his hand, so
okay.
Yeah, if Luke is able to answer this one, untap Simian Spirit Guide land, another Tezzeret.
Yep.
Seems fine.
Yeah. Opting to just swing in for that 5. I mean, he would be very Luke would not be inclined to play to swing with his Geist, but because Sunny was tapped out, he said, "Hey, why not? You know, I'm just going to swing in, kill this Tezzeret, and start working from there." So I think just getting in that 5 damage is probably pretty good anyway. So, but we will be able to swing with Geist each turn because Sunny can't race at this point. He will have to hold up that Pentad Prism, but he does have the Engineered Explosives in hand. So, I mean, this is one of the other things that we're mentioning. Like, he's going to play an Engineered Explosives on 3, and Luke might go, because he hasn't seen a Simian Spirit Guide yet. I think we're going for the Thopter Foundry first, which is totally fine. He might just be leaking out the counterspell in Luke's hand, because when you're tapped out with 4 mana, that's the magic turn for that's the magic turn in Modern. You know, you're gonna be able to play that Cryptic, tap down his team, draw counter a spell, tap down his team, or counter a spell, draw a card, and just try and run away from the game from there. But he does have that backup Thopter Foundry in his hand as well, so that is a pretty good play from Sunny. Yeah, I do really like having to throw this Thopter Foundry under the bus. Like, your opponent can sometimes get that tunnel vision. You know, they like saw a card that beat him in game 1, and all he's thinking is like, how do I stop this from happening to me game 2? I mean, we're pretty lucky. We do have the Stony Silences and the Ceremonious Rejections, but he definitely doesn't want this to resolve. I mean, it looks like he's letting it resolve, so that's fine. But maybe he's got the he could possibly Cryptic Bounce instead, and then counter it next turn. Sure. So it looks like he's destroying 2 cards.
No, I think he drew and
tap down the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. That's fine. He's going to be able to get him for 6. Sunny's probably not very inclined to sacrifice this 5/5 Pentad for a 1/1 to block this Geist, so he's probably free to swing in from here. And that Engineered on 2 is definitely the reason why we're not countering that thing. Not countering that Thopter Foundry. So he's able to take out the 5/5 and swing in for 6 himself.
Yeah,
so
this was a big play for Luke.
He
needed to answer that Thopter Foundry, and that Prism that's icing on the cake.
Yeah,
making your opponent lose the 5/5 as well.
Very interesting. We are going to be able to power out this Chalice on 2, which I think is a very good amount to be putting a Chalice on, but he's pretty dead on board. He'll need to be working very, very hard to stop this Geist from just killing him immediately. So here we see the line of the Engineered Explosives on 3. Simian Spirit Guide making its debut appearance in this match. And
cross your fingers, hope Luke doesn't have a burn spell.
Yeah.
That's pretty much Sunny's game plan right now.
Yeah, I mean, at least it is, like, at least he's got something. I mean, he could play the Engineered Explosives for 0, play out his other Thopter Foundry, and then sacrifice it to make a Thopter, but like, this just seems like a much higher EV for him. He's going to be able to get rid of the Geist. He just has to hope that Electrolyze that Luke currently has in his hand is not going to be cast.
Stranger things got to happen in
Magic,
right?
Yeah, exactly. So we'll be taking 6. We will be exiling a land with the... so we're just going to do that end of turn. Totally reasonable. Luke keeping the graveyard very light for Sunny with that Relic of Progenitus activation every turn. So it sounds like it's lights out for Sunny. Give him the old 1/2 punch with the Lightning Helix as spell of choice. He actually had the opportunity, so if Sunny was planning anything, if he was planning anything a little bit spicy with some counterspells or something, he was able to Electrolyze and Lightning Helix. So it was going to be very hard for Sunny to be able to win from there. But yeah, so now that we have seen the Simian Spirit Guide, now that we've seen the Tezzeret, all secrets are out. So Sunny does not have the surprise factor anymore coming into game 3. We'll see if we'll make any sideboard changes on either side. It looks like Luke's pretty happy with what he's sided in, so he's just going to shuffle up for the next game. Sunny possibly just having a quick look at, as I mentioned before, his triple sleeved deck. Those sleeves were very beautiful. I can definitely imagine you wanting to encase those sleeves in another sleeve. So yeah, very, very, very large deck coming out of Sunny's side, but that is, believe it or not, a 60 card deck. We haven't seen very much ensnaring bridge action.
No.
Speaking of secrets.
Yeah. So there is one more left in there.
Yeah, that's right. You could get him. If he's kept the ensnaring bridge a secret so far, we might just be able to get lucky. But I think a lot of things have to go right for you to have the Thopter Foundry on the battlefield, have the ensnaring bridge down, or I guess you're like ensnaring bridge, waste lock. Like there's a lot of so ghost quarter lock, I suppose, but there's a lot of good things that could happen for Sunny to be able to turn on that ensnaring bridge to its full potential. We do see a bit of a sideboard change coming out of Sunny's side. He is going to bring in those sun droplets, possibly seeing.
I think he's leaning. Yeah, he's seen the electrolyzers and the lightning helix. It's only safe to assume bolts are in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's seen that Luke is on a bit of a burn package. So bringing them in just seems reasonable. If you've got a lot of couple dead cards you want to shave.
Yeah, sorry, go.
Yeah, well, I've seen him just palm engineered explosives off. That was a bit clunky. It's good, but yeah.
It's much better when you have 1 million mana.
Yeah. It is a bit clunkier for Sunny to produce that third colour of mana.
Yeah, for sure.
So
he's going to take out a Crucible of Worlds as well, his one of. So possibly seeing how many basics that we mentioned in game 1, it's probably a good idea to just sort of ditch that plan and just get any value that he can from the single Ghost Quarter and Field of Ruin that he does have in his deck. The Jeskai Geist now, it's been gathering a lot of popularity lately because we did have blue-white control sort of being the control deck of choice, but this has kind of taken the reins because you can kind of tailor it how you want, but for the most part it is a tempo deck. You know, we call it Jeskai Geist for a specific reason, not because it's a control deck, but because you're slamming a Geist down turn 3, or you're slamming a Geist down turn 4 with protection. You know, but you're presenting as much of a threat as you are using the burn spells and counter spells to control your opponent's board as well. So yeah, not just a control deck that Sunny's going to have to verse. It's the control deck that plays a lot of burn spells. So hopefully we'll see a Witchbane Orb come out of Sunny's side again, because that will be very crucial in this matchup. If he can get the Witchbane Orb and the Ensnaring Bridge, we're going to be feeling pretty good. But as we said before, a lot of things have to go right for that to happen, especially when your Witchbane Orb is a 1 of and your Ensnaring Bridge is a 3 of. So hopefully we'll see more Whir of Inventions. We saw the 7 out of Sunny's hand, probably a little bit too slow and a little bit too weak. I think we only saw 1 island and then a bunch of 3 and 4 drops. It's just not going to be good enough. I mean, if we could power out a Pentad Prism, it would be definitely different. You'd probably keep a sort of shaky hand if you could cast a Tezzeret on turn 2 again. But Luke's hand, he was pretty happy with it. He kept his 7. So hopefully we'll see what comes out of Sunny's side. See if his 6 is any better than what we saw before. He does have another Tezzeret as well, and also a Chalice. So this is very similar to his hand of 7, but unfortunately has 1 less card in it. So we're just going to have to go to 5 and see what we can get coming out of there.
One sweet line I like with this Tezzerator deck is... obviously, you start powering up the combo, make some Thopters. If you have an Ensnaring Bridge down, sacrifice the Ensnaring Bridge to the Thopter Foundry at the end of their turn, then return it to the top with Academy Ruins, draw it for turn, attack with your 1/1s, and then just slam the Ensnaring Bridge again. Not allowing your opponent to attack, but at the same time letting you attack with all your little 1/1 idiots, which I really like the sound of that.
Yeah.
Color me interested.
That's right. It's slightly different to the ensnaring bridge line that Lantern Control wants to use, where it's just stopping any attacking from happening. But Sunny does have the option of, yeah, as you said, drawing a card or killing the ensnaring bridge, swinging with the 2/2s, and then putting the ensnaring bridge back down again. This 5 is like fine, right? It's a turn 2 Pentad Prism, turn 3 Trinisphere. Turn 1 Pentad Prism, turn 2 Trinisphere. Now that's a little bit better. Yeah. I'll take that. Surprisingly good 5. I mean, we can even get the Sun Droplet out if we get a little bit more lucky.
I'm pretty sure Sunny did scry to the top, so that had to be a land.
Yeah, yeah. You'd have to be crazy not to put a land on top of your library. But yeah, so we have, I mean, we've mounted 5, but we have access to 3 mana turn 2. We will have to make this Pentad Prism useless after putting the Trinisphere down, but it will slow Luke down a lot.
Turn 2 Trinisphere.
And he will be able to play that turn 3 Sun Droplet as well. So Sunny is going to be empty-handed, but he is going to slow this game right down. Ensnaring Bridge would be perfect. That's a good top deck. If you can get it, your hand is empty. Your opponent can only spend 3 mana to cast spells. Like, I think you'd be feeling pretty happy about that. Luke definitely slowing it down. Getting his Hollowed Fountain, probably not doing anything for another turn because he doesn't have any fast mana, so he has to sort of bow to this Trinisphere. But yeah, I think Sunny's probably feeling pretty good about that.
I'm not seeing a shortage of lands in Luke's hand, so he'll be able to eventually get around this Trinisphere, but for the time being, it will slow him down. Sunny drawing a Collective Brutality. Both are 2-drops in his hand, so if he wishes to cast either or, he'll have to use that Prism, which does take him off mana from, like, if he was to draw something like more backbreaking, like a Tezzeret. That would take him off being able to cast it.
I think I like Collective Brutality, knowing that his hand is open. It's definitely going to resolve. There's no way that this Collective Brutality is not going to resolve if he casts it. But yeah, it's a heavy price to pay. Usually people don't pay 3 mana for a discard spell, so we'll see if it's worth it. Sun Droplet, just not as impactful either. You know? Like, he's not taking any damage for a little while, so he's probably okay to sort of hold back that Sun Droplet, but it's a tough line. When you see 2 cards in your hand and they're both equally awful, it makes things very difficult. Yeah. He's just opting not to use that Pentad Prism mana because it's probably more valuable to him to just keep it. Yeah.
Like, Luke isn't threatening him with anything yet. Land's free. Alright, what 1 mana, 2 mana card do you want? Nope.
Well, he's got the Serum Visions. He's opted not to play.
Yep.
Possibly just okay with the cards that he has in hand. He did thumb to the front a Lightning Bolt, so he had 3 mana Lightning Bolt at end of turn, and then start drawing some more. So we'll see what's coming out, but it's almost certainly just it's Lightning Helix, strictly better Lightning Bolt. So, like, Luke can survive through this Trinisphere because Sunny's not presenting a threat. We'd almost be in a situation where we're just hoping to gather lands, but we could even be Collective Brutality even gaining life, but it might just not be worth it at this point. Now, this Chalice can go on 2, which I think is actually pretty good. He did draw a land for turn, which is great, but a Chalice on 2 will really I guess you're waiting for a Chalice on 3. Yeah, probably not as good. I guess we can start playing our 3-drops in our hand, like our Sun Droplet. And Spell Queller.
Yep.
Yeah, Spell Queller coming down on Luke's side. Perfect time to play a Spell Queller. He's going to be able to just start getting Sunny for 2 each time, and Sunny's not presenting any kind of threat either, so and the Sun Droplet's not going to be able to gain him any more life, so it's not as good.
No matter what Sunny threw down, if Spell Queller could counter it, it was going to counter it.
Yeah, exactly.
And here's Jace, Architect of Thought, and now, I believe, rolling down for Poor Man's Fact of Fiction.
Yeah, just revealing the top 3 cards from his library, and an opponent chooses to put them in 2 piles, and then you grab one of the piles and put the other on the bottom of your library. So it's looks like Cryptic Command, and I think either a Ceremonious Rejection or Spell Snare. Great. Cryptic Command. Yeah. This is a pretty easy choice for Luke because no matter what, especially with the Trinisphere out, but even not, like, he's got enough islands to cast his spells. He's like, the Cryptic Command is just so good here. Like, he's just going to be able to bounce any sort of like shenanigans that Sunny tries to cast. And just Sunny's just going to have to play through it because his Luke's hand is full and Sunny's hand is nearly empty. Very good to get a Tezzeret at this point, but yeah, I think I can definitely justify making this 5/5 and just killing Jace, stopping 2 more Factor Fictions, and then soaking up a bit of damage for that Spell Queller as well.
Because he is throwing Tezzeret under the bus. It's just going to be dead by the hands of Spell Queller when Luke untaps. He knows he has the Cryptic, so it's a bit curious that he might, bounce it, and then counter bounce whatever Sunny plays.
Well, definitely seems like he can just wait until Sunny's turn to do the Cryptic, but to also sort of get any other value that comes out of it. But poor Sunny, he's like that 5 damage was just all he could get out of that Tezzeret. So it was 4 mana, deal 5 damage. But I think if you're ticking it up, you are losing the option to swing for 5 or to have that 5/5 on the battlefield. But at least you get to do the faux Ancient Stirrings, and at least you'll be able to put Tezzeret at an amount that doesn't die to Spell Queller. So if Luke wants to get rid of it, he'll have to swing with the Spell Queller and waste a burn spell, which he probably just won't do. And he's not going to bounce Tezzeret back to his hand. So, but like putting a 5/5 down really forces Luke's hand. Like he's not going to let this 5/5 stick around for long. Unfortunately, in the throes of what is a very grindy game, Sunny accidentally looked at a extra card. So Judge is going to say, hey, do you know anything else about your the cards in your deck? Sunny's going to say, no, I've never scryed a day in my life.
No, he scryed at the beginning of the game, and it was to the top.
That's true, that's true. So saying, did you scry? He said, yes, I did, but I left it on top, so it doesn't actually matter. So she's going to make him shuffle his library and go through that. So
give him a stern talking to.
Yeah, that's right. Give him a little slap on the wrist. But it's definitely good to... I think it's like... He's playing competitive REL right now. Like, he has a judge sitting over him. But this is, like, one of my favorite ways to play Magic.
Yeah.
Like, I play a lot of casual Magic, don't get me wrong. But when you're looking down at the table and like everything rides on like a line or two, and like you're right in the throes of it, and you have like a judge watching over you, like that's living, like that's real Magic right there.
No takesies backsies.
No takesies backsies, and God, am I one for takesies?
Who doesn't love a takesies backsies, really?
That's exactly right. So Sunny's going to be able to get that free shuffle, randomize that randomized library. Now we did draw the card, which is fine. We can play out a 3 mana discard spell or play the chalice, but he's definitely behooved to force Luke to either take the 5. I guess he's taking the 5. The good thing about Cryptic Command is also bounces counters a spell. So if Sunny can get that free damage in by swinging before he makes any other move, he could be coerced to play. Yeah, I think I like this at this point. Like,
this is fine. This baits out the Cryptic Command.
Yeah, the Cryptic Command. Yeah,
he's either going to take it or just draw, counter, bounce something. Either way,
he's going to play out this Cryptic. So it's up to Luke what he decides to do. But I think the counter bounce is good. But Sunny's probably not too unhappy with that because he's going to be able to put charge counters back on Pentad Prism. So it's not too bad.
But the flip side is he did lose his only clock.
Yeah, and this Spell Queller is going to continue to chip away.
This has given Luke a lot of breathing room.
Absolutely. And poor Sunny not going to be able to capitalize on that Sun Droplet he tried to cast.
Ooh, Stony Silence.
Yeah, this is when speaking with the players after the match, it was like something that Sunny said that he had to face a lot of. And he's just getting so much splashback from, you know, Affinity being a very, very, very popular deck in general, like everyone's packing Stony Silences. If you have white and you're not playing Stony Silence, like something's wrong, you know?
Yeah.
But
Same with Ancient Grudge, just any kind of artifact removal, this deck cops it.
Yeah, exactly. And like with the Stony Silence, like he's just turned off one of Sunny's win cons, which is the whoopsies. I think we're maybe forgetting about the Stony Silence very early, but he's paying 3 for that Pentat Prism.
And he's paying 1 life for the privilege.
He's paying 1 life for the privilege as well. Unfortunately, possibly just maybe just sort of folding to what is a very, very competitive time in the day, but you also cannot put 3 charge counters on a Pentat Prism. So unfortunately, we've made a misplay. Laura's missed it, which is very unfortunate, but because it has Sunburst, you can only pay the amount of mana that you say you're going to pay. You can only pay in different colors, but you still have to pay the converted mana cost of 2. You can't pay 3 for a 2 mana spell. So unfortunately, a little bit of misplay on Sunny's side, because not only has he put 3 charge counters on a artifact that cannot have charge counters, that amount of charge counters put on it, but he's also paying 1 life for the privilege, and he's not going to be able to ever remove those charge counters because of Stony Silence on the battlefield. So I think we're just wrapping it up from here, which is a very unfortunate sort of way to have the game end. But I mean, a fantastic deck to watch. I really want to see more of this Tezzerator Stax, and I want to see it get pushed out as time goes on, because it was an absolute blast to watch. Good congratulations to Luke Burrow of Jeskai Geist. This is the top 8, so he's going to be making it to the semi-finals. He's going to be versing Luke Doherty on Jeskai Geist, so he's going to be making the mirror match, and we will be watching a different match coming into the second round of the top 8, so please stay tuned.